Boom! What's up, Solo Renick Nolny here. We got Yunara, the new champion. It's been completely revealed. We were looking at some leaks yesterday, but now we can actually see the full shit. I think we do the Vandero video. Let's see what we can gather from her gameplay. First of all, I think she bears a lot of resemblance to Syndra, you know? Like her ability icons, like even her ulti looks like Syndra ult a little bit. And
so Riot is able to playtest Yunara. So
let's see here. So now he ultis.
Show you her abilities, exact tooltips, cooldowns, her gameplay, and tips from Riot.
Oh my god.
A lot of interactions with her abilities.
Her autos look very, very smooth.
Yunara's passive is called Vow to the First Lands. Yunara critical strikes deal extra magic damage.
The champion is interesting. She does a lot of magic damage on her crits. It looks like she's just gonna be a crit ADC, but do magic damage when she crits. She reminds me a lot of Zeri, in the sense that she's gonna buy 80 items, but she's gonna do a lot of magic damage. But I don't know if she can buy AP items. Like, we'll see, right? Depending on the ratios and...
She hits a champion or lands a crit. At max stacks, Yunara can activate her Q to gain attack speed, bonus damage on hit, and will deal splash damage.
It's very interesting, the splash damage. I wonder how good it is for wave clear.
This ability is automatically activated while Yunara is transcended, and that comes from her ult. Let's talk about the ult now, before we look at W and D, as ult empowers all the abilities. Yunara's ult is called Transcend Oneself. Yunara taps into her full power, entering a transcendent state for several seconds. That enhances all of her basic abilities for the duration.
Her ulti is like enhancing everything in her kit.
It's called Arc of Judgment, Arc of Ruin. Yunara sends a swirling prayer beat out, which damages and slows enemies as it travels.
I like her design though, I think she's cool. Not like in love with her, but you know, it's not bad.
It lingers and expands for a moment, continuing to damage enemies who don't get out of the way. While transcended, instead of a swirling prayer beat,
in this transcended W looks really OP. The Arc of Ruin
fires a beam of spirit magic.
Like, the range on it and how fast you cast it is really good. Like, this is really good. Looks like nearly impossible to dodge.
Yunara's E is called Kanmei Steps, Untouchable Shadows. Yunara gains a quick burst of move speed to chase down enemies, reposition or dodge skill shots. While transcended, instead of a move speed boost, this ability becomes...
The champ looks fun though, the champ looks fun. This dash looks really fun.
Now let's have a closer look at Yunara's tooltips, scalings and cooldowns. Here is the passive. Yunara auto attacks.
I do wonder if the early game will be really bad though, because the passive doesn't do anything until you have crit, you know what I mean? So you're playing without a passive until you have your first crit item. And she's 575 range, I believe, which isn't bad. That's quite a good range.
The bonus damage is 10%, but it also scales with 0.1% ability power. Yunara Q is her bread and butter. It's the ability that you will need to learn to play around. We'll stop here.
This is very similar to like Ashe Q in the sense that cast it, you need to do auto attacks and you build up stacks. And then once you have max stacks, you can use it. I don't know if it's an auto attack reset like Ashe Q is.
For a moment, as there are plenty of things to know. As I already mentioned, you get 1 stack per auto attack, plus another one when you hit a champion or land a crit. And you need a total of 8 stacks to be able to activate the ability. It stacks pretty quickly. And the ability itself doesn't have any cooldown. Q passive.
The ability doesn't have a cooldown, but you can't stack it while you're auto attacking. Kind of has a cooldown, you know what I mean? Like, you can't have permanent uptime on it.
Yunara attacks deal an additional magic damage on hit, from 5 to 25.
I mean, the champ has a lot of magic damage. Her Q is magic damage, her passive is magic damage, her W is even magic damage.
Depending on Q level. Her Q active boosts her attacks for 5 seconds, providing from 40 to 80% attack speed, and makes her deal an additional magic.
She'll probably be doing, like, if I were to guess her damage percentage, it would probably be 65 to 70% physical damage and 30% magic damage, something like that. I don't think she'll actually build AP though. I think it will be like Zeri, in just the sense that you do a lot of magic damage, but you're still just building normal full crit.
Furthermore, her attacks spread to nearby enemies, dealing physical scaling with 30% AD. If you don't attack for 6 seconds, you lose 1 unleash stack every half a second.
Ah, so it falls off gradually.
Targets can she hit with it? How are on-hits applied? Well, let's look at the tooltip.
Yeah, she can go down, yeah.
Spread attacks apply on-hit effects at 30% effectiveness, and lifesteal also at 30% effectiveness. Yunara's splash attacks spread in all directions. Even
Oh. I thought it would just spread behind, like Helios Blue Gun or something.
if someone stands in front of whoever Yunara attacks,
That's very interesting. That makes it a lot better of a spell.
she can still hit them with splash damage. And how many extra targets can she hit? There is no limit to the amount
What? This I wasn't
she
expecting.
can hit with her splash damage. As a result, her wave clear with Q activated is super good, and in teamfights, she can deal a ton of AoE damage. Another super important thing
What the f- That's crazy.
is that it stacks on everything you attack. It stacks on structures too. But what if you attack the structure with your Q activated? Well, good news
Oh
for
wow, it
Yunara.
spreads. It works. Q works on tower, that's big.
Her auto attacks
And it
spread
spreads.
through structures, like here with turret. That's another great thing for wave clearing. And not only that, but attacks that spread also deal 250% damage to minions below 30% HP.
This is like Kaise Q. If minions are below 30% HP, it does more damage.
Miss to minions.
So this champ will be really, really nice to wave clear on.
What is also worth noting is that if you crit your target, the spread attacks will crit as well. Oof, her Q was pretty stacked, now let's look at her W. Her W base cooldown is 10 seconds, reduced to 5 seconds while transcended.
Yeah, bro, this champ seems really fun. This champ seems really fun. I think this champ sounds really up my alley, completely. I love the idea of having an ultimate and it just makes you way stronger and it buffs all your abilities and that's it, you know? She seems pretty simple and I like that a lot. And the fact that the ulti also makes the cooldowns lower, so you're really feeling that like that power injection, it's gonna be great.
The initial hit and the damage per second area of effects at the end of W deal physical damage, but scale with both AD.
Okay, so the W does deal physical damage, apart from the Transcendent W, which deals both physical and magic damage. But everything has AP scalings. I think they kind of want her to build some sort of AP.
Hit slows by 99%, decaying over 1.5 seconds.
But it's weird that Riot is doing this, because usually, whenever Riot does this, and people figure out some weird-ass build, like people go like Yuntal into IE, and then they start building AP or something like that, Riot gets mad. They're like, no! Go a normal build! And they instantly change it, you know? Like when Seri was building Bruiser, when Zeri was building any sort of AP, you know? No!
So it's a really powerful slow. Empowered W, however, is like a laser version of W. Overall, does more damage, but it's split half in physical and half in magic damage. Both of these parts scale with AD and AP.
Like, what if you go... Chat, listen. What if you go Yunara, full AP, W max, and you just ulti and you spam your W? It has a 150% AP scaling. Holy. That's pretty OP, no? 150% AP scaling on the W, and look how do you dodge this?
Half in magic.
Look at this.
Slow.
You're gonna dodge this?
Empowered W, however,
Look at this.
is like a laser version of
You can't dodge this.
overall. Does Empowered W
It also scales with AD. Yeah, but it scales way less, and you can get way more AP. And if you get a bunch of ability haste, then it's gonna have low cooldown. I think we're cooking. I think we're cooking.
So it's a really powerful slow. Empowered W, however, is like a laser version of W. Overall, does more damage, but it's split half in physical.
The cast time scales with attack speed, but the 80, like, who the fuck cares about the cast time?
And half in magic damage. Both of these parts scale with AD and AP. As you can see here, her W AP scalings are pretty decent. Maybe she won't be playable as an AP champion, but she definitely will make a good use of any AP you get from attack speed items, such as Ginsu's Rageblade. When it comes to W, it's also worth noting you can shoot your Ws through the walls no problem. And another thing you should remember is that the cast time of W is
Wait,
reduced
the W? I thought the W returns.
with permanent attack speed you have. So this should make it easier to land your Ws in the late game when enemies get some more movement speed. Now let's have a look at Yunara's E. The cooldown of this ability is from 10 to 6 seconds. She gains from 60%
So she can get pretty low mobility, or she can get pretty low cooldown on her mobility.
movement speed depending on the level of ability. This is also increased by another half when you move towards an enemy champion. It makes it the perfect ability for chasing enemy. That being said, this movement speed boost decays over 2 seconds. When you activate Yunara's ult, your E becomes a dash, similar to Lucian's. You might be wondering, can she dash through the walls with that empowered E? Well, Yes, she can.
Yeah, makes sense.
This wall is about the biggest wall she can dash through with her
Okay,
power.
so it's not too big of a dash.
So cannot dash through the thickest walls, but through some thinner walls, yes. Another thing that's worth noting is that your ult refreshes your E. This means that before casting your ult, you usually want to use your E for the movement speed boost.
Makes sense, yeah.
Using E, ult, E is gonna be a very common combo for chasing or escaping.
Thank you, XL Addicted, for tier 1.
Yunara's ultimate ability has a cooldown of 100, 85, 70 seconds based on the ult level. When you use this ability, you enter Transcendent state for
15 seconds. That's a long time.
Pretty long time.
It's a very long time.
That ult refreshes the E.
That seems way too long.
But during the testing,
15 seconds?
That when Transcendent state wears off, it refreshes both her W and E cooldowns. Although I haven't seen a mention that it should do it. If this feature is intended, using your W and E...
Yes, the W refreshes as well.
State wears off would make a lot of sense. Now let's talk
God.
a little about gameplay. Yunara is a traditional auto-attack based AD carry, and Riot doesn't intend for her to be played in other roles. So Riot wants Yunara only as an AD carry in the bot lane.
Holy moly, this is some low gameplay.
Yunara is intended to serve the player that embraces...
That Yunara is not kiting. Sorry, it's just I'm getting distracted.
Spacing, positioning,
And she ordered me.
high damage uptime. We've already gone through her abilities in details, so how should you play her? Let's start in lane. As Riot is suggesting, play safe until your Q is ready or about to be ready, and then look to start aggressing. Use your E to boost movement speed after you hit your enemies with W. That way, you can slow your
She looks pretty straightforward, to be honest.
enemies heavily. Once you get your ult, your opportunity to outplay enemies increases drastically. That being said, as Riot is saying, Yunara thrives in small scraper fights rather than massive, highly organized teamfights. But I still believe she should do pretty decent in typical teamfights when she has her team around her. On the other hand, when you play against Yunara, look at her usage of Q or ult. When you see her activating either of that...
She reminds me so much of Zeri, because it's the same thing, right? Like when Zeri presses ult, you just kite back, you know, wait it out. And it's gonna be the same with this champ. Like you don't want to fight her when she's ulting.
And wait for her empowered Q to wear off. Yunara's ability to engage relies heavily on her allies, or her ability to hit you with W or empowered W. So try to dodge Yunara's Ws as much as possible. Yunara will make it to the live servers in the middle of July, precisely on July 16.
Middle of July. Okay.
What do you guys think about Yunara? Playing her was pretty fun. Let me know in the comments what do you think. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
I won't be back for her release, but I'll definitely have to check it out. I can't wait to play her, actually. I think that's gonna be so much fun. Her auto range is 575, I think. Very exciting. Very simple. I like it. My overall thoughts is the builds, definitely gonna have to cook on those. My initial instinct is you'll just go a normal crit build, but maybe you can get some on it in there. Maybe you can get some AP in there. There's definitely room to cook. There's room to cook in the kitchen. And yeah, I'm excited to see how she's gonna be. How she's gonna look like. I'm excited to see how she's gonna look like. And how she's gonna be to play. I think she looks really fun. Right direction. We need an auto-attacking ADC. I think that's gonna be really fun to play. And overall, I'm really excited for this champ. I think good. Right. Good. Claps from me. All around. I like it.